Alright gang, welcome back. Episode number 3 of the Beatnik Bandit clone project. That's this many, it's almost 4. So you can see I got some fiberglass work fresh done on the nose of the Bandit here. And that's because if you remember last episode I showed you the hood ornament and how there was a large gap right along the base of it because I had done the nose without even thinking about grabbing the ornament and test fitting it. So I made that pretty straight when there's actually quite a slight little arch to it, so this fits nice. So what I did was, obviously the first thing I did was I ground the whole top of the nose down. And actually I filled this area in because there was a little bit of a low spot there. So I figured, you know, while I had everything out, might as well take care of it. But I took this, I laid this on a piece of cardboard, and I traced the shape of the slight arch that this would have to mount to. And then with some French curls and everything, I transferred that to a piece of cardboard. And I've got that here. I marked out where the tip of the nose would be and where all of the studs are going to come through. And I set that on the nose like this, you know, before I fiberglassed it, only to find out that, about midway, right around this center stud, I needed about 3/8 to half an inch of height. And I was thinking about maybe just cutting all the fiberglass and picking it up and, you know, what we call cracking the fiberglass, moving it up and getting the shape that way. And, you know, that's not what Ed would do. He would just plop fiberglass on there and drill through the extra half inch and make a longer stud if he had to. So, I gotta be honest, that's what I did. I put a piece of masking tape on the bottom side where the holes I had drilled were. I put some resin in there and let it set up. And I proceeded to, you know, cut fiberglass and lay it up. So, I mean, what else is there to say? But it does have a nice arch to it. It's a little wavy and stuff, and I made it a little bit more than it really needed to be. It's still hot. You could probably burn your hand in it. It's still setting up. But, yeah, this way when I grind it down, it should come into the right shape. Looks really good with the cardboard template, but it's a lot better than like 3/8 of an inch. So I really don't want to use that much body filler to fill you know, a boo-boo like that. So I will zoom the camera in closer here to show you. If you remember, like I said from last episode, episode 2, that you can see the gap because I showed that to you. And you know, we'll move on. I'll show you that. And I figured I really wanted to go do something else than grind fiberglass in. Let me see. You know, 70, 75 degree heat. Wearing long pants and long sleeves is not my ideal of a good time right now. But you know, it's got to get done. You got to do what you got to do. So while this flashes and sets up, I'm going to attack the headlights. And I think I had showed in one of the other episodes the back of the hollows of the headlights. I still have to get in here and grind all of this out to accept new fiberglass. And then I'll put a piece of cardboard in the back. I'll make my tracings and I'll cut that onto wood. I can set in the back. I'll laminate that in. And then I have something to mount my 57 Oldsmobile parking. Man, I keep getting little fiberglass hairs are sticking to me. But this way I got something to mount those 57 Oldsmobile parking lights to. So that's going to be this episode. I think is going to be taken up by a lot of that. So we're going to work on this. We're going to work on that. And that's our project. So I'll zoom in. I'll show you how good the cardboard gap and everything sits now. And we'll move on to other fiberglass, itchy, grindy things. All right, you can see the discoloration here of where I laid up my glass. And this is the little template I made. And that little tick mark represents the very tip there. So if I lay it down now you can see how great that fits. Very little bit of light passing through here, and it has the right arch I need. So cardboard template's best thing in the world, huh? So that's good. A little bit of body filler on that, that'll be perfect. But yeah, making up the template, sticking it in and out of the wet fiberglass until I got it just right. Excuse me. So that's the ticket right there. So this should be good to go. I'm going to grind it down and do my body work on it later on. I'm going to grind it down and drill the holes and reset the hood ornament, and we should be great. So let's move on to the headlights. good to be back inside the barn. I put my air conditioner back on, but it's going to take a while to get this place cool. I'm sweating. But I got my holes drilled, and let's see what we got. Woo! Look at that. That fits really good now, boy. That's the right thing. Maybe just a skosh light a little bit. Maybe a 32nd, a 16th tops of body filler. That's a sweet fit. It was worth the extra effort. Let's stand back and take a look at it. Yeah, boy, that's the right thing. That fits real nice. You know, the only thing you can count on is that you can't count on anything. And hey, I had this thing for 12 years. I should have tried it out on the plaster before I loaded it up with fiberglass when I did the original buck for the body. But hey, you know, it's just it's how it goes. No big deal. It's fixed now. I'm gonna guess that whew, that's at least a ½ inch right in the middle there. Hey, you know, it'll make the nose stronger. What can I tell you? It's like Jimmy Durante or Barbra Streisand's nose. So actually, it looks more like Bob Hope's nose, I guess. Who knows? But hey, it's on there. We've got that gap filled. We've got the right. This is still flat. It's got that curve this way. It's got the slight arch this way. It's the right thing. And I also moved it forward about ¼ inch. I just felt a lot better about that. So there you go. That's that. So now that that's done and out of the way, I bolt it on normally, but seeing as I'm going to be slinging some fiberglass resin around, I don't want to ruin this brand new part I paid a lot of money for. So we'll put it back in the box for a wee while. And we'll get on to these headlights. We'll get to figure this out. So let's just do that next, huh? So I'm going after the headlights now. And the one good picture I have of the backside I'll show you. These are what the headlights are. These are 1957 Oldsmobile parking lights. And now obviously I got this out of a junkyard, but I've got brand new little nibs here and new lenses and stuff downstairs. I don't know if this is repro, but I'll have to send it out and get it chrome plated, I guess. But there's you know, 2 lefts, 2 rights. And that's the headlight. I'll try and shove one in here and show you what it looks like. You know, that makes it, man. It really kind of ties it all together, as the Big Lebowski would say, right? So I gotta get those in, and let me put this down, and I'll show you how Ed did it. So there you go. And you can see, looking at the picture right here, it's kind of a piece of wood. Oh, where's my finger? It's cut off straight down. These little tabs here, these are metal tabs he laminated to the wood. So I'll do the same thing. You know, where there's this other little knob thing here, the little stud, I may make a tab for that too, you know, just because I can. But yeah, the wood stops right here. It doesn't go all the way in here, you know? It doesn't go all the way over there and do all that. It's just straight down, that's sitting right here. So this is the funny thing. I've already made one. I'll show you what I did. That's just the right size. And this is an old Bud Light case. And this is the piece I made. I made one for the opposing side, the passenger side, I guess you'd say. So that's like the right width. So I wonder if Ed did the same thing with a case of cores or something like that, you know? I wouldn't put it past them. Yeah, but I saved, you know, great bunches of oats, Raisin Bran, next day mailing envelopes. They all work great for this kind of stuff. So I can't just go ahead and trace this one for this side, because everything's a little different when it's handmade. So I'll make 2 separate templates. But I'll go ahead, we'll make a template. I'll show you how I got it done. I'm just going to position this. The very edge here is how Ed did it, and it gives me the right length going in. So, and I know I'm going to have to cut this corner off, but I'm going to just kind of press it in and get it right to where I think it's about right. And I'm going to just push this with my finger and kind of scribe the backside with my thumbnail. And I'll go ahead and trim this back with scissors. Don't do this while you're running, it would be bad. This could be a little haphazard, because as you're going to see later, when this is in the curve inside the car, we're going to fiberglass it on the inside. Now let me just check and make sure I got a good fit. Everything seems to fall right where it's got to be. And we're going to hold that there. And very simply, take our Halloween pencil and trace this. And that's it. That's what we got. So now let's go cut this out, and we'll give it another test fit. All right, gang, another day, another piece of plywood. I opted to remake these pieces of plywood for the headlights supports, or whatever you want to call them. And I'm usually a pretty cheap guy. I use what I got laying around, you know? So this is what I had laying around, this half-inch stuff, and I'm like, it's kind of big, you know? It's really making the headlight go from like that to like that. Plus it's this, and then after you get done fiberglass matting it and putting body filler and stuff on, now we're up to 3/4 of an inch, so almost an inch. So I actually spent $5. I know, right? I spent $5 and I bought a thinner piece of ply, 1/4 inch ply. And you can see the difference there. So I made up 2 of these. This will go into my fireplace at some point. And I've already got one C-clamped in. You can see a couple of C-clamps hanging off the side there on the passenger side. And I got to C-clamp this guy in. So yeah, that's what we got to do now. I'm going to go ahead and get them all C-clamped in. Get them kind of like, you know, so everything is centered and all the cattywampus, schmeggy back up, it's all in the right way. And then I guess we'll mix up a little bit of resin, get some little tiny pieces of fiberglass mat, put on my prostate exam gloves, and go in and start doing the brush method of getting the fiberglass mat down to hold this in place against the body and so on and so forth. And let me think, I also refilled the holes that I misdrilled for the hood ornament, so I'm going to go ahead and redo that and get that set up. So yeah, let me go get my stuff, put it together, get this set up, and well, let's start doing some fiberglassing. All right, gang, I don't know how exciting this is going to be, but I've got all these little squares that I've cut out, and you'll see I'm just going to like put one here and wrap it around on the back. And I'm not going to completely cover the front like that. And I'll put one like right in here, and I'll wrap it around the back. I'll zoom the camera and show you how I'm doing some of it and stuff. I can't do a lot of wrapping because I got to wear a mask, or the fumes give me nose polyps, and that's really a colonoscopy for your sinus passages. And wear a mask, you don't want to do that. So that's it. I'm going to start getting into this a little bit here. I'll talk as much as I can. I'm going to wet up the area. And one thing I want to say though is I'm going to have a tab here and a tab straight down from here for the to mount the headlights or the Oldsmobile parking lights. And what I had thought of, I'm going to make a metal tab or a strip. I'll drill holes and I'll bolt it to the parking light. I'm going to drill 1/8 holes on either side, and I'm going to put it on the back, and I'm going to pop rivet it so those tabs I made stay in the wood. Now the pop rivets aren't going to really do anything other than just keep it hanging there, so I can laminate right over it. So I don't want to do any laminating in that little spot where I'm going to have that tab. So I'm going to avoid that. So like right here and at the top, so I'll do a little on the sides and stuff, and I'll catch it just enough to get it so when it cures I can take all these clamps off. So that's what we're going to do. And let me get going, because we're wasting daylight, as John Wayne would say. So I guess we're going to go right here and catch this spot. And like I said, I'll zoom that camera in. There'll be some nice overlay music in the background. And yeah, this will be all good. It's going to be very time consuming because they're little tiny pieces. I got to saturate them and get them to sit where they got to sit. And they're always going to want to flip back because of the mat. The mat is not going to be happy about laying over that curve. But we got to make it do it. So like I say, a couple of pieces, and that'll be enough to hold it. And then we'll keep going. Alright gang, so I got a couple of spots on either side. You saw me do the one side. I just got 3 spots on this side. Just the little areas, maybe an inch or 2. And I'm going to let that fiberglass, the resin on the mat, cure up and get really good and hard before I go disturbing any of those C-clamps. Because it has a hard time, the mat, wanting to fold around some of those corners. So I probably shouldn't have cut it like that. I probably should have used like ripped off pieces. Because when you rip it off, it usually tends to lay over a lot better. But I want to get this set up. I'll have the time to do that later on when I go ahead for the rest of it. I'm going to try and do everything that's like here now in the headlights, you know, like the lower halves. Then I'll flip the body over and I'll catch all the other sides of everything. Because you know the resin's going to want to just drip down, so it'll just make life a lot easier. But a little bit of extra work of getting the body up and off and flipping it over, and I have a giant dolly sitting outside. I'll put it on and move it around. So that's it for now. I guess we got to let this stuff cure so I can take all the C-clamps off, and then we'll crack back at it and keep cutting little tiny pieces and laying them in and getting it done, and we'll get there, man. All right, guys. I've already had the body up and off the chassis and upside down on the dolly that it's on now, and I've done these sides that I can get at, like the bottom here and in here. So now obviously I'm going to go after everything I couldn't get, the other sides, and I'll fiberglass that up. And one thing I wanted to do now, I got to get in here. I ground all the other fiberglass down, all the fuzzies are gone, but I still got to get inside here, inside the rings to sand them. So what I did was I went up to Harbor Freight, and I got to be honest, I hate Harbor Freight. I hate all this stuff that's made in communist China. I just need to get that off my chest. But sometimes you want to get a tool, you're going to use it once and throw it away or something. Everything from there sucks and it breaks. I'd rather pay too much money and get something from a name brand company. But I bought these barrel sanders, and it's kind of a shitty design, and I'll show you what I've got. I got one on the drill, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 that you get. I'll bring you up to the camera. You get the 4 barrel drills like this, and you get you get so many of these extra pins to put in there. That counterboard right there, and there's an Allen, and you can swap these out for whatever size drill you got. Let me get myself in the frame here. And you know, you got a big one, you got a this one, you got a little one, I got an intermediate one on the drill already. And it looks like you can just use a flat sheet of sandpaper, which I like, because obviously my body shop guy got a lot of it. And this oblong pin goes in there, and when you twist it, it tightens up and the paper can't come out. They have another design where you put a cardboard tube with sandpaper on it over it, and you tighten this up and the rubber expands and it holds it. But they don't sell the refills. So why bother? So I got this instead. It was 30 bucks. We'll see how good this works. I'm going to go in there and just zip it around, clean up the fiberglass and rough it up so I can continue to lay more glass in there. And then I'll have to do the same thing with that, so be able to take body filler and everything. So let's just do that and get it over with so we can move on and start mounting those parking lot assemblies. Alright guys, so I've got all the fiberglass mat done and in there. And it really stinks in here, so I don't want to talk too much about my mask. And so at this point, I'm going to let that, thought that was going to fall. I'm going to let that cure and set up. I'm going to go back in and grind all that fiberglass down. And this way, after I grind it down, I'm going to set up those little metal tabs with the little T's on them, so I can put the 57 Oldsmobile parking lights in as headlights with those little tabs, and I can mark it out where they're going to go, so I can fiberglass those in. So until that's cured, I'll see you in a few seconds. Alright guys, as you can see, I've got two of the headlights already on the Beatnik Bandit clone. And they're actually, I've had one of the guys tell me I've been repeating myself a lot. And I don't mean to do that, but when I do my DVDs, it's more of an educational thing, and for the YouTube channel, it's supposed to be more of an entertainment thing, so I kind of forget. So unless you email me and tell me what you like and don't like, I don't know, so I can't correct myself. So if you don't email me, you don't vote, it's your fault. So I'm trying not to repeat myself a lot, but I don't remember what I said. These are 57 Oldsmobile parking lights, and I've got two of them in. I've got them in the same way Ed Roth did, and I'll show you the picture I have. I'm still standing up for a wireless mic, so I don't fade in and out. But here's the picture, and you can see how he's got just these little, like this, they're steel tabs. I don't know how he mounted them to the body, but I'll show you what I'm doing. So they're not perfect, they're not great. You can see how a little hodgepodge and stuff they are. So I'm not going for, like, you know, the Vatican or the Sistine Chapel or anything here. I'm trying to get it done like Ed did. So I'll show you what I got. So what I've got are these 57 Olds parking lights, and don't worry, I've got new lenses and everything, but I got to get this all re-chrome plated. They don't make this repro. And I've got these screws, just like Ed used, and they just screw in like so, in place of the stud that was there. And I got them a little too long, because if you look at the picture, you can see how Ed used the screw with like a spacer or something. So to stay the way that Ed did, I'm going to make a spacer and I'll cut these down and it'll all be fine later on. But what I've come up with is, this is the tab I've made to bolt to the body, or screw to the body I should say. So and I've got nuts on here just so I can space it out. But this will hold the parking light in place, and I've chamfered the edges of this if you can see that. And this has got that beveled edge on it too. And this will just slip right in there and it'll be somewhat flush. Okay, I'm still going to grind it down. So when I fiberglass over this, the fiberglass resin will sit right on the outside edges, inside the Phillips head. This won't back out. With two screws, it won't move from side to side. It should be good to go. So this is what I've got. This is what it'll look like screwed to the car. And I've already got the 2 in, so I'll show you those. And I don't see any need to show you me making a bunch of these brackets. It's relatively straightforward and whatnot. But I'll show you a little bit of making them and everything, and then we'll get right to, we'll wrap this episode up. So that's what I've got. These are the brackets. I'm going to set this one up in the car so you can see, and then I'll show you the other side that's done. All right, gang, I've already got the 2 holes drilled. I wanted to show you how it's going to get set up and bolted in. So basically, I kind of just take this and I center it the best I can in the hole that's there. And some of the gaps are pretty wide, some are pretty slim. The body filler is going to make up the difference, and I'm sure Ed Roth did the same thing. But I got these 2 holes drilled. I'll just sock this up. And get these screws in, and once I get this set up, I'll show you the other side that's done already. And maybe we'll make 1 or 2 brackets, I'll show you that, and then we'll move on. Like I said, I got a fiberglass over these things, and there's really probably no need for you to see me do that. You've seen me do that how many times already? Fiberglass in the wood end that I'm screwed to right now and stuff like that. I just feel it kind of becomes redundant. If you want to see me keep fiberglass, you send me an email, spritzbyfritz@aol.com, or you can do it through the YouTube channel. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. You know what? Only way we can make it better for you is if you say something. You like it the way it is? That's fine. You think I should wear a different hat? You let me know. And I can't find it as my wrench. Yeah, so now I'm just going to take this and sock it up. Make sure I'm centered the best I can, because I still got to do the bottom bracket. Now there's 3 holes on here, but for some reason Ed didn't use this odd hole, so I'm not going to either. There's some stuff that you're not going to see, so I'll go ahead and do what I got to do. Artistic license and all that. And this you're going to see, I want it to be somewhat exactly the way Ed did it. And that's pretty good. Actually, I got to tighten it up a little bit more this way. Get the screw in there tighter. And that's pretty good. Now, because I got the fiberglass on here, sometimes it's a little iffy in that way. I've taken this tab and I've made a mark and I've had to bend it so the front of this kind of stays even with everything on the other side here of the headlights. So maybe you have to take the bracket, put it in a vise, and twist it one way or another. It's a little of the kind of fudging and bumping on it. You got to do a little bit here and there. But that's it. Relatively simple. I make these 1 at a time. I'll put a screw in here. I'll take a measurement. I'll drill my hole. I'll put the screw in with the bracket, and I'll figure how much meat I need, where I can drill my other holes. I'll drill the other holes. I camfer the edge, and I do it very slow and methodically, 1 at a time, so I know it'll bolt up. Because the other side, when I take those pieces in and out, I know it's going to bolt up every time. So that's what I need, especially after I fiberglass over all this. So enough of me talking about this. I'll finish this up. I'm going to show you that right now, the stuff I did already. I'll show you the brackets and stuff I make here. Maybe not, because it's going to eat up a lot of time. And that's it. So let's move on. I'll show you the other side. So there you go, guys. These are the 2 lights they're in. I think it looks pretty good. We'll zoom the camera out a little bit. It's got that Beatnik Bandit look to it. I'm loving it. Now it's going to be a little bit shaky. I'm taking the camera off the stand so I can show you the other side here. And that's how I got everything set up here. And you can see, this I didn't have a lot of meat, so I got 1 screw, and I got 2 screws on everybody else. There's 2 there, there's the 2 there. And these tabs are just where they got to be to do what they got to do. These things are in here. Look at that, that's pretty solid. It's hard for me to do this and hold the camera, but that's pretty solid. That's not going anywhere. Like I had said, I'll go ahead and I'll machine some spacers for this. I'm sure Ed probably used transmission line, but I'll machine a spacer to the right length, and then I'll cut it down so the screw head touches right against that, and that'll be perfect. So that's it. And that's this stuff all set up. I think it's pretty good. Let me put this back on the stand. All right, so I'm happy with what I got so far. And like I said, these things are in here pretty right and tight. They're not going anywhere. And I'll go ahead and I'll finish up that side of the car, and I'll get those mounted in. It's relatively simple. I don't know if you guys really need to see me taking that. It's 1/8 inch thick by 3/4 inch strap steel, you know, shaping it and drilling holes. I mean, you pretty much know what I'm doing. And I'll get those fitted. You know, like I said, you don't need to see me fiberglass them in, so the heck with that. And you know, I'll get that done and over. We'll come on back and we'll figure out, you know, what we're going to do next for next episode. So let me get crack-a-lacking on that, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, that's it. I got all the headlights mounted, and I'm quite happy with it. Any odd spacing and stuff in here is probably due to the irregularities of the fiberglass, the way I ground it down, and that's what they make body filler for. I threw the hood ornament back on just for effect. But it looks really good, I think. It looks just like the real car, and that's the whole idea. I'll go ahead and I'll fiberglass those tabs I made up in the back. Like I said, I don't think you really need to watch me continually do this with fiberglass. But maybe I'll cover it on the next episode. I'm trying to shorten up these episodes where they're not almost an hour long. And that's it. So thanks a lot for watching. What I'm going to do is, actually, you know what? I can give you a good view of the rolling chassis because the body's off. So why don't I grab the camera and I'll show you the chassis quick before we sign off. Well, there you go, gang. That's the chassis. I started with a 1950 Oldsmobile chassis. And I'll try and zoom in on some stuff. And that there is the radiator. That 50 Oldsmobile radiator I had shortened up. You should have seen it, the guy at the radiator shop. He thought I was nuts. And the supercharged 303 Olds. And that bar in the back right there is something Ed Roth put in. And and I noticed on the real car that the drive shaft taps that bar, so I'll C-notch that. But that's where he had the rear body mounts bolted up to that. And I'll try and move this over more. We'll show you some more stuff here. Excuse my fantastic camera work, it's just me. And you know, the transmission hump and all that's the same. The way that these are mounted, you know, the chassis has been shortened. You can see where I got the weld right there. But over on that side, that's exactly the way Ed did it. He just took the piece of that chassis and he welded it in just like that. And this is all just like the model kit. If you open up the model kit, you'll see. And I've still got to get in here and make up something for the steering, because I can move this over a little more and I'll show you that steering coupler I made just like Ed's. I took a template off the real car, and right where I had that Allen bolt is where it mounted up to steer it. And the steering came off the chassis right there. There's a piece of pipe and it mounted, and there's a hydraulic cylinder. And I'm not going to do hydraulic. I'm going to go with an electronic, like linear screw motor or something. So I'll use that, and I still got to set that all up. That's another episode maybe down the road. But I figured maybe you'd just like to see what the chassis looked like. And there it is in all of its glory. You know, all rusty, nothing special. And yeah, what can I say? All right, gang, that's it for this episode. You know, the headlights are in the Beatnik Bandit clone. That's good. It's a great thing. There's still lots of work to do. I really appreciate you guys watching. And if you can, check out my Patreon page. There's a link right down here to how to get to it. And please subscribe. It doesn't cost you a dime. You don't even get, you know, junk email from anybody. But just click that red button over there to subscribe. And that would really help me out. And I'd appreciate it. Like I said, it's really no skin off your nose to do so. But thanks a lot. What are we going to work on next? I've been thinking about doing that taillight panel. I'm trying to leave that moonstick because that's going to be a big pain in the butt. But maybe I'll get a couple $100 together soon, and I'll get that wireless microphone so I don't have to yell across my shop like this. But again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next episode.